I'll try it out. But I'm all in kind of person. Like when I commit to something, I will do the 15 days and I will stick the whole 15 minutes. I will really give it a true, honest shot. So after 15 days, I was like, I want more of this. This feels good. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Better Together. Today we're coming to you with a food coma and from our fancy hotel that we're staying for a couple of days. So excuse the bed, we tried to make it, but we're not used to this. And we will talk today about a topic that has been on our plate for years.
Well, the past year especially.
Yeah.
While traveling, that's different.
And the topic is how to stay sane while traveling.
Especially with a focus on the morning routines.
With a strong focus on the morning routines and the rituals that we do when we arrive to a place and we make it our own so we don't go crazy or wake up in the middle of the night like, where am I? What happened to my family? 32, your family lives in another place. I'm late for my exams.
Yeah. So full authenticity, especially into our, I guess, daily routines. But additionally, like we want to drop in and say why we do this, why it's so important for us to have a morning routine, and not just for us, but in general, why is it important to really focus on ourselves every single day and focus on our direction where we want to head in life in a way. Yes. And I think that's like a very key part. So because main goal or part of the goal of better together is also to see like our life, but also different parts of life from a different perspectives. And today we want to look at this perspective of how do we live our every single day from this perspective of I want to create something, I want to actually improve something in some way, and what that does in like a bigger scale from a psycho-spiritual perspective. I always need to bring that. Yeah,
you never miss that.
Funny cool.
And disclaimer that we are close to the golden hour. We are in the golden hour already. So we'll probably experience some shifts in the lighting. And if you stop seeing Julian, it's because light took him.
Let's start with a topic.
Yes.
So we're, I guess, to give the full perspective, since a bit more than a year, we're continuously traveling. But before already started that we created some sort of morning routine for ourselves. And I think I want to start with actually, why do we have a morning routine? Why is that important in the first place? And then maybe we'll go into exact steps of what we do. So what is a morning routine and how did you come up with that for yourself maybe?
Yeah. Well, for myself, I think it was back in 2016 and I was trying to incorporate some sports in my life and I couldn't find anything that I was attracted to. So somehow I had a membership in Udemy for because of a company I was working with. And in that membership, there was this 15 days of yoga. And it was 15 days, 15 minutes of yoga. So every morning...
Solid marketing.
Yeah, it was a good package. It was solid. And every morning I would wake up for 15 days and do yoga in the morning. And that's how it started. And it started very light. It was like, I'll try it out. But I'm an all-in kind of person. Like when I commit to something, I will do the 15 days. And I will stick the whole 15 minutes. I will really give it a true, honest shot. So after 15 days, I was like, I want more of this. This feels good. And I Googled yoga videos. Ended up in Yoga with Adrian. One of my loves of my life. And Adrian is so easy to hang out with. Like you feel like she's your friend across YouTube. And I started doing yoga with Adrian on a, maybe like I didn't do it every day, but I would do it like 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. And I started feeling the changes. And the more I did yoga, the more I started getting uncomfortable with the parts of my life that weren't fitting. So I was aligning with myself, and I was also connecting with my body, like getting the energy flowing. So I would have a lot of emotions coming up during yoga. And I realized, oh, okay, maybe not everything is psychology, because I was very cognitive. And that was a lie. Like I was molded into a cognitive person through university, but I was never. I was always very sensitive. So then yoga gave me that back, and then slowly but surely I started doing that over and over again. And eventually everybody was talking about meditation, so I started trying it. I couldn't find like that it worked for me. And I don't know, I think it was sort of simultaneous. I started using weed for spiritual purposes, and I would journal a lot on weed. It was almost like I was channeling this wisdom, and it probably was me connecting to like the higher wisdom within myself or within the universe, whatever. And I started finding answers. I started finding value in contemplating and making time to be in silence. And then I started with probably 10 minutes of meditation, and eventually grew into the practice that I have now, that is consistent 30 minutes, but sometimes it's an hour. And I do have an hour of yoga. And I dance, but that's not every morning.
But pretty consistent now.
Pretty consistently. Almost every day I put a couple of songs and I start dancing. And the morning routine to me, because that was another question you asked, is this transition between the dream world and the real world. I already spoke in another podcast that the dream world for me is a life. Like I live two lives. I live the life of the waking Caro and the life of the sleeping Caro. And in the dream world, I'm very immersed and I enjoy it very much. And when I wake up in the morning, there's this transition where I'm neither here nor there. I'm like between both places. And the morning routine just allows me to slowly ease into the waking life. It's this almost portal where I just slowly let go of my dreams. Sometimes the dreams are really there and I have to write them down, journal a bit. And I slowly let them go. I start moving the emotions that the dreams left. And then I start preparing for the day. And I set up the intentions. I start looking forward. I connect with my body, move it around, warm up my voice, maybe sing something in the shower. And those things just get me ready for the day and make me show up in the best way that I can. So that's why I haven't missed a day in 3 years. Every morning. Yes. Didn't stop. Like, there were a couple of times where I was between airports and traveling and stuff, so then I just meditated. I didn't do anything else. But I have meditated every day for 3 years. And I think it has gains, like long-term gains that you don't really see if you do it a couple of times or if you do it not consistently. But meditation for me, being consistent with meditation has increased my awareness, my sensitivity. It has given me so many benefits beyond just starting my day on a good note. So highly recommend. That was like half an hour answer.
Yeah. But one thing stood out, which you just mentioned, like in a side note, which was it just helps me to align with myself. You said relatively in the beginning. What do you mean by that?
Align with myself is, I don't know why, but it feels like if I am just running through the motions, if I'm too much on my computer, if I'm too much on in the other people's topics, it's like I become a 3D movie when you take off the glasses and you're like, where's the image? Like, what am I following? Like, it's just blurry and out of place. And there's like 3 Caros in different locations. And that's how it feels energetically, physically, to not be in alignment. When I'm in the dream world and I wake up, I'm definitely like in the blurry mode. And meditation, what it does is just like adjust the lens, the obturator. No, it's not. That's in
What is
Spanish.
it, the focal length or something?
No, diaphragm? Just coming up with camera words. Oh, God.
The focus, right?
The focus, adjusting the focus. So then that like meditation takes out the blurry and
so come
sort
back
of
to
evens
yourself.
it out. And yeah, it makes me grounded and compact in order to just go to life and get blurry again. Over and over again. And just going back. Going to the mall, blurry. Half an hour on Instagram, blurry. No, come back. Take a few breaths, come back. And it gets easier and easier. The more you do it, you just realize you're blurry.
Okay, but that's a big part, I think. I feel that's like aligning with yourself in the morning is so important, especially what you also said, like it's sort of because in that period, I know now, like you shifted a lot in those times when you really started to change and started to put on your morning routine, that you really became more clear about what you want and where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say then. Thank you. But the blurry thing was great too.
Yeah. Yeah, so you became a lot clearer of where you're heading and every day basically reminding yourself of that.
Yeah. And I think in the being in the body and unblurring myself, it became clearer what I'm here to do on Earth. We're getting deep already. But it was the beginning of a very big shift in my life, because back then in 2016 I was like living a completely different life, and I started feeling like I needed to move to Europe. And this was because of doing yoga and being more introspective and getting to analyze what I want for my life, from and for.
A little bit like listening to this soft inner voice that sometimes is there, right? And we quite often numb it with stuff. And it sounded like this just, okay, if you sit in silence for half an hour a day, this voice is eventually going to come up.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, including my parents and your parents, wouldn't sit in meditation because they're afraid of what will come up. And that was true for me in the beginning as well. Like the things that came up were usually intense, like fears of being alone or just emotional things that didn't have a beginning or end. It was just like an emotion that I had. And if you're able to sit through that, you realize, oh, I'm actually tougher. I'm resilient. I can deal with this emotional things. And at the same time, I can start getting to know myself, not just the narrative that I've been playing over and over again, and the thing that society tells me that I should be, or my parents. So that's a very nice side effect of meditation, that you stop being afraid of being with yourself and you actually start listening to yourself, who you really are, like what wants to come out of you in this lifetime. And that can get funky.
Can be anything. And most of the time you don't like what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it for you though? How did your journey start? Oh, I think I know.
A little bit.
From the meditation retreat.
No, before even.
Oh.
It was like I felt like I just sort of got through high school, just like made it, and that was it. And then looking back at it, I was like, what the heck did I do then? Every like half a year later, after I finished it, It was like all the pressure of the final exam gone. I was like, what the heck did I do then? That's not what I want to do, really. Just like passing things and not caring about stuff. I actually want to take care of myself in a way. And so somehow I like in this, it was like somehow, yeah, I think ending somewhere in summer. And then I wanted to just suddenly start with, I'm going to wake up at 7:30 every day and I'm going to like meditate for 10 minutes and work on something or read or just do something to educate myself, because I didn't feel like I did that the past, what is it, 12 years in school.
Shame on you.
Shame on me.
Oh, you were a teenager that was not extremely aware. Oh.
I don't know, I still had that feeling. And the fun part was I said it and wrote it also down. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 7:30. And I think I did it for the first day. And never again. Even though I said it, I was like, the alarm rang. I was like, okay, 8:30, I can just lay in bed. I don't have anything to do, right? I was just a teenager, just having a summer vacation after the final exam, so I didn't have anything. And so that's, although where it started, this internal urge to, hey, I want to actually do something with this. Then I failed for the next couple of years to do anything like that. I tried all the time. Like I tried a bit meditation. I read it in, I think, a book from Tim Ferriss to just, I don't know, the top performers just meditate and say that's the best thing they ever do. And it's like, okay, I'll try it. Didn't really get anything out of it. So it's like, oh, sometimes my fingers feel weird when I was meditating. And so yeah, I did every once in a while meditate a little bit. But then fast forward, I think when I started to pick it up a bit more was after the meditation retreat I did. And that just blew my mind and really showed me what is possible with meditation, what is outside of my normal consciousness. Like a bunch of different things just suddenly came so clear, where I was like, okay, there's something important. And I want to keep this feeling of, almost like this feeling of awareness, just this being so present. And so I started actually for the first month or 2 months after the retreat with meditating daily in the morning and the evening for like an hour. And then it sort of reduced over and over again. But since then, I probably missed a couple of days. But since then, what is it now, 5 years ago? I continued meditating almost every single day. And sort of from that spiral, then also other practices. Like now, I did for quite a while also with you some yoga. Now for the past month and a bit, it's Qigong, which is great. For me, like what I really notice, the movement is really important. So what you also said with this morning routine of like transition state, for me, it's really awesome to wake up as well with movement. With conscious movement. It's different when I do a workout, actually. So with conscious movement, because then it happens that my emotions get activated, my awareness gets activated, and I sort of finally come to life. And that's really awesome. And also the reminder, I usually do the movement practice before and then meditate. And then there's the reminder of, okay, what am I here to do? So that I also always bring in with that as well. And so the movement practice recently has been so rewarding, because I noticed I'm so much more able to deal with emotion. I can just move them around in my body and sort of push them in different places, spread them throughout, let them pass. And usually also, I guess as most of us now, you learned it in university. I think it was pretty much born within me to be in my mind all the time. And just being consciously in movement, you get out of your mind. And that is great. It's awesome. Yeah. If I wouldn't have that ability to do it myself, I would certainly pay for it.
Yeah. And it evolves so much. Like there's phases of Tai Chi, there's phases of Qigong, there's phases of
work out hard or
workouts. Yeah. There's phases of just crying.
Reading,
starting
crying,
your day with a good cry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever did that, but probably I did. But just it adapts. Like also my meditations are shifting from like I'll concentrate in each of my chakras to I'll concentrate in each of my ancestors, or I'll just have a bead thing and I'll think 48 things in my life right now. So it really shifts from gratitude practice to energy alignment to ancestry and stuff like that. But it's always, the intention is that it's authentic, that it feels that it belongs in that moment, in that phase of my life, and that it has this component of being in silence, introspection. I also, I don't know if it happens every day. No, it definitely doesn't happen every day. But I aim to separate myself from my role as a human for a few seconds and look at myself as this, oh, that's Caro doing her Caro thing. And the things that are running through her mind are just stories. Stories that she was told, stories that she came up with, and just really, really seeing the Caro character separate and realizing, oh, I'm this observer and I get to play this role. It's like, oh, I got a great part. Jim Carrey always jokes with that. Like, I love Jim Carrey. I'm so happy I got to play his role. I think I feel the same. So then also meditation brings me to that place. So then you just start your day with this knowledge that nothing can shake you. Like things can shake your character and the person that you're playing, but
not your essence.
Not your essence. Yes, you're safe. And all of this is just a game. So go play, darling.
Wonderful. And it's because there I feel like really the also psychological perspective comes in when you say about, oh, these are all stories in our monologues that are replaying most of the times. We've heard them so many times usually, like all the stories, they come up over and over again. And so it's actually really nice. I didn't know you were doing that. to separate yourself from the story, look at it, because then at least look at it. when I do that, it gives me this freedom. Oh, I'm actually free to act. I don't really have to care how other people see this, how whatever I'm doing. I can really see it as a role and as a play and just see what happens if I act differently. So it gives freedom to me. So nice that you brought this up.
And one other thing, I don't know if we're selling this already, but in case you need it more convincing, I feel that it brings this stability to life. That you will go down, but you will not go as down as if you're not meditating or having a morning routine. And this is where it ties with traveling and staying sane while traveling. Because we were for a whole year last year, well, we're still doing it. We're in a hotel right now. And we were traveling different countries, completely different cultures, foreign languages. Well, many places I had Spanish, so then that was fine. But it was still a completely different culture.
Yeah.
So we had no constant, but our luggage, whatever was in our luggage, our company, we had each other, and the morning routines. The things that we did consistently. And I feel that gave it a red thread through our travels. And it's almost like every morning I would show up to the mat or to the mattress or to the pillow, wherever I was sitting, I would show up and I would be like, I'm still on this path. I'm still on this journey. What's in there now? What is it alive in me right now? And sometimes it was, I am fucking tired of traveling. Sometimes it was, the mattress is extremely uncomfortable, my back hurts, I should stretch. Sometimes it was, I have altitude sickness. I cannot deal with this. I need to move somewhere else. And sometimes it was, this is amazing. I love this life. It's so cool. So it had everything. but I feel like it saved me more from the pains of travel than to acknowledge the beauty. Like the beauty I was still able to acknowledge even if I'm in misery, but it made the troubles, difficulties, challenges, like all of the things that we were experiencing while traveling, it made it bearable. It made it just another story. It put some perspective into the uncomfortable mattress and the smelly bathroom and the weird host. It all was in perspective. And I could go back to my center. I could be like, okay, these are people. These are humans. We can still connect. Even though I don't speak Thai. I have no idea what any sign says anywhere. And we can still connect. This is still a society. There's food. There's a hotel. But I had moments of extreme overwhelm through the travels. And if it wasn't because of the practices of going back in and being okay with being with myself, I would have had panic attacks or,
Probably,
or whatever, anxiety, like chronic anxiety, because it was tough. It was really tough at times.
And I think there especially comes the point where we get lost in those stories. When you now mentioned, we probably would have had panic attacks or something like that. Especially when we attach our thoughts to it, when we feel,
not again. Okay, so let's come clean. We'll come clean. Sometimes the camera turns off and then we are not looking at the camera. We don't realize, and then you get to talk to a ball of fire.
As you've probably seen in other episodes.
In other episodes, you will.
But only for the ones who watched the video. So if you want to see a ball of fire, watch it on Spotify or YouTube. Anywho, I think just starting with just short recap of what you said was basically the morning routine brings you down to earth and makes you able to deal with emotions, and maybe also makes the extreme emotions, the extreme bad emotions, less extreme. So maybe also comeback rate is going faster back to your normal self in a way. And you said you almost like would have had probably panic attacks with all the difficulties that sometimes arise. And I think there is an interesting, important part in there that comes up, especially for me, with meditation, but also movement practice. At some point I realized that it is just the emotion that usually creates this feeling, and they pass after a couple of minutes usually, if not after an hour or two. They're gone, or at least substantially changed. But when we attach thoughts to it, when we think about this over and over again, we sort of keep ourselves attached to it, like hold on to it. And that was for me a big thing to realize, that I usually, or quite often, try to keep that feeling or try to, examine it, think it through, try to analyze it. And by doing so, I sometimes overly do that and keep the whole emotion in there. The negative one, the panic one, the whatever one is right now in my mind. And through this practice of every single day doing that, that might be the long-term effect of meditation. That helped me a lot to get through those, understand this and get through those situations. So another selling point.
Basically, you become acquainted with the fact that you're human.
Yeah.
And you experience things like intense emotions or thought attacks.
Yeah, thought attacks.
I heard it from somebody on Instagram. And you just put those things into perspective. You realize that this too shall pass. And just breathe through it. Be okay with discomfort. Learn how to navigate it, and eventually it will pass.
Exactly. That's, I think, a really big learning that I had from those morning routines. But I also wanted to then go into, okay, these are like some of the let's say, our personal learnings, our personal ways of doing so. I think that's the basic thing of just, okay, we get a morning routine in, we go through it, we learn those things, we get centered for the day and started from this centered point towards whatever we set out was our goal. And now it's like, okay, but why is that really in the long run so helpful? I usually like to use this little analogy of just like 1% difference in direction. It doesn't make that much of a difference if it's like 10 meters, if you walk 10 meters and a 1 degree change in direction. But if you walk 3,000 meters, then you already see a little bit of a difference. And when you expand that to 3,000 kilometers, then you're like, oh wait, I'm a completely different place, maybe in a different continent even, than when you like made the shift in a different direction. And that's how I see a little bit the importance of some kind of practice daily. And I also maybe want to go into a little bit of a distant perspective on that. Okay, what would happen if we would expand that a little bit to not just to ourselves, because I think it is just has its pure benefit in itself, but when we expand that to other people as well, how we impact other people, how other people could be impacted by like a lot more people doing that every day.
I think there's a lot more clarity that comes with the meditation. You're able to see through the woven nature of life, and then you're like, oh look, oh that's a plant, and that's a plant, and that's a plant, and you can sort of decipher better the patterns in other people's lives, the stories that are playing out. You're like, oh, that's a story. You see that's a story. You see clearer. You see clear. You don't speak clearer. You just see it.
Vipassana also means seeing reality as it is.
Yeah. It's about equanimity. Oh my God, what's up with words? Equanimity. Like not constantly interpreting situations, but just like seeing them as they are. And I think that brings a lot of clarity. I've seen it with my family when I just show up with a calm demeanor and I just listen to them, or I just say a couple of words, and maybe I say like, did you sleep all right? Are you hungry? Like just noticing things that are very obvious to me, that they are in distress somehow, but they didn't realize because they are playing the role. And it also happens when I am in that place and then you tell me something, or when you are in that place and then I tell you something, which, to be honest, is mostly what happens, that we just tell each other when we're off.
You're in a mood again, yeah, okay.
You're in a mood. Do you need food? That's the thing that you tell me. Do you eat? Are you hungry? But that's how it affects. And I'm constantly humbled of how you're never done with meditation and morning practice and personal development. The moment that you stop doing it and you just slack for, let's say, a week or two, you lose the progress you made for years. It's like, what? It goes away. Like you don't get to keep it. So it needs to be a constant showing up and remembering what this is all about. Like, oh, this is the Earth game. Remember, don't get lost in the stories. Get your blurry, unblurry, realign. Because if you don't do those things, it's very easy to just fall back to the crowd, forget what you're here for and who you are. Just get lost in the humaning, not seeing how it's all bigger thing, which to me is a shame.
Not seeing the beauty in so many things, not seeing the connection with it, with so many storylines, with so many people. Like when you notice that every single interaction that you have could influence another life for the better, and that could spread. Really, this what is it? Water ripple effect. Yeah. So that's so awesome if you can really look at it and see it. And this beautiful red bedroom now.
I was looking at your forehead.
My favorite cut. Yeah, this is a beautiful thing, actually.
Yeah.
If you look around, it's really nice. Yeah.
And the sunset is the sun in my eyes. But it's great. Great stuff. Yeah, you are awake for those moments that need you awake. You are clearer, you have more alignment within yourself, and you don't get off the path for so long. So you won't stay in a job that it's misery if you're meditating constantly.
When you don't meditate or don't have the morning routine, how do you feel? How do you notice you're off track?
I have no idea. I notice that I'm off track.
Yeah.
Sometimes even with the meditation and with everything. For example, when I'm PMSing. And there's nothing in the world that I can do other than maybe just take hormones or something, like inject myself some dopamine. But it's like, it's gray. The world is gray. And I can get like bursts of emotion, but it needs to be something really impressive. It's not that I see a flower and I'm like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Look at the intricacy of the beautiful flower. Like that can happen any other time of the month. But when I'm PMSing, it's like, meh. Everything is meh. So I get the beautiful humbling that my body just wants me to have the light experience, the shadow experience, the beauty and the feeling it all, and the feeling nothing. And I get to do all of that through a cycle. Yeah. So every 26 days for me is misery day. And I tell you, usually, like I notice.
Yeah. It's like,
there's no
I'm
joy.
Off. Yeah.
There's no joy in life. Luckily, it doesn't last too long, maybe a day, but still. And I don't know what would happen if I wouldn't meditate those days.
You wouldn't even have known it.
I wouldn't have noticed, because the reason that I noticed. That's a big
part, and like that I'm so happy that you're so aware noticing that. Because otherwise I would be like all the time, what the heck is going on with you?
What did I do?
Yes, what did I do that to make you feel like that? No, but I think like in general, that's like what we had also last episode, just noticing like kids have a tantrum. Adults can also have a tantrum when they slept bad, when they didn't eat well. And especially also in those situations or in that time of the month, it can be completely different. And you're like, I have no control over this.
No, that's another humbling thing.
Yeah.
It's so great to be just at the mercy of my hormones.
You try to be the best human being and like, nope, not today.
I also had it with the altitude sickness. And I was feeling so good and I was so strong, so fit and motivated for life. And then all of a sudden I was feeling awful, had no motivation. I couldn't get up from bed. It was like completely 180-degree shift in my life. So yeah, those happen and we have to stay awake. And I think the awakeness of the meditation is for the present moment. You're not doing it necessarily for the future. Yes, you're doing it for the future, or most importantly, you're doing it for the now. Because what meditation helps you with, and what morning routine will help you with, is to be present today, right here, right now. See it as a game, see the narrative, and get a bit closer to the highest version of yourself.
To make better decisions right now.
Exactly. And yeah, that can add up and eventually make yourself a very avid meditator, a very clear thinker, an extremely sensitive person. Yes, those things happen, but you don't do it for the end goal, because there's no end goal. You do it for today, for now.
For maybe feeling relaxed, dealing with emotions, but also just being present and seeing life through a different lens.
Yeah, because we tend to escape our bodies, our minds. We tend to escape when things get tough.
Yeah.
And to have the full human experience that is extremely challenging, we need to be able to stay within our bodies and in contact with our minds and not let it run on automatic autopilot or just function on like in the background, and we are just numb walking through life.
To all those,
it's a waste. Like that, in my opinion, that's a waste of life.
To all those Instagram Reel, TikTok users and emotional eaters, that's for you.
Emotional eaters, that's me.
I'm with the other category.
Oh, yes.
But yeah.
Okay. But we're running out of light.
Exactly. So I just want to have one other question, which is, if you have another selling point for a morning routine.
Oh, because we didn't say enough.
Because we didn't say enough. Either for a single individual or for why is it good for yourself to do it, and also for the people around you.
I think the biggest one is losing fear of being with yourself. And we said that one already. But what can come up? Like, honestly, in my meditations, I have gone to past lives. I traveled the galaxy. I have had the weirdest experiences seeing dead relatives and stuff like that. It's just bananas, like the things that you get to experience. So I lost fear of exploring my mind and consciousness. And I also started having this very clear picture of how my thoughts work, how my emotions work, how my body works. So I like to use the analogy of a grandma grabbing a computer and clicking somewhere and being like, did I break everything? Like,
the internet.
How do I? Yes, I downloaded a virus. It's like, what? You clicked on the desk. We are not even connected to internet. But that's how it feels sometimes, that we just don't understand our mind, we don't understand our body, how emotions work, and we are that grandma scared of fucking it up and destroying a computer just by clicking. And the moment that you start meditating, you start seeing like, oh, if I click here, I go to my documents. If I click here, I go to Internet Explorer, because you're a grandma. Yeah. May it rest in peace. Internet Explorer. That was Microsoft Edge.
Yeah, definitely better, probably.
Well, it couldn't be worse. But we're losing track of the topic here. The important thing is just don't be that grandma scared of the internet. Just try it out. Figure how it works. Get to know it. Change the background. And make it more yourself.
That's actually really good. I actually expected something else as another selling point.
Just say what I want, what you wanted me to say. You have it.
Yeah, I wanted to say something like, "Oh, you're gonna be so much more aligned with yourself. You're gonna be feeling so happy." And no, he said, "No, just become familiar with yourself and get to know yourself," which is probably the most fundamental and most impactful thing of all. And the other thing is just the fancy thing what everybody wants to hear.
Well, you can still say it. You did already.
Yeah, no, that's what I expected you to say. I think for me, it actually brings this back to myself, like not losing myself in the mind, coming back to, I sort of connect more with like the belly or the heart area, where I see my real essence. And when I'm all the time in my mind, I know I'm off track. And so what it does to me is like, okay, if there are too many stories, too many repeating things, I'm like, wait a minute, that's a story. And as soon as this enlightenment comes up, it's like, oh, okay, wait, Gotta go back to the body and feel, be present. So when I'm in the mind, I'm either worrying about something in the future or thinking still about something in the past. So that's, I think, with any movement practice, with any gratitude thing, with any meditation, I'm trying to get back to the present moment, to the body.
And most humans are pretty unstable creatures. There's a few people that are just exactly the same every day, and you're like, how? But there's those people. But most people, you will notice that they have a good day, they have a bad day, they have a bad day, they have an amazing day, they have a period of their life where they are just glowing, and they have a period of their life where they're constantly tired. And it's all part of it. So we all get to be and navigate that. And you will be tired. Like meditation doesn't take away the tiredness, but it gives this consistency to your life, this red thread, as we were talking, in travels, but not just travels, because we were meditating also when we were living in the Netherlands, and we are meditating now, and we will be meditating wherever we go live next. So it's this red thread that it's constantly connecting you back to your essence.
I think that's very much the core of our morning routines. Beautiful final word. And thank you. Thank you for sharing this. I think we went quite deep again without preparing at all. So that's wonderful. Thank you guys for listening until now. I think it's really, really awesome that you took the time to take in what we wanted to say, and just figure out what stuck with you. Just contemplate about it. Figure out what resonated. And through that, you will expand and take out all the bullshit that we said and just take the thing that's useful for you. And maybe we see each other in the next episode.
Yes. We're here getting swallowed by the darkness.
But it's a beautiful sunset.
It's a beautiful sunset.
Anyway.
Let's see. Wait. Let me see if I can not destroy the microphone. Ooh. Oh, I'm plugged to the... Anywho, that's the sunset. See you next time. Bye-bye.